call of the Hogs can be heard all the way to San Francisco.
You're listening to Pod at the Palace with Curtis Wilkerson on Inside Arkansas.
Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday, and welcome back to the Pod at the Palace. I'm your host, Curtis Wilkerson with Inside Arkansas. And today's episode is presented by Roback Apparel. Just go to roback.com and use code HOGSBY20 for 20% off your first purchase today. Hope everybody enjoyed the weekend. Are you recovered from the football game? Are you numb to it? Do you care? Everybody feels a little bit different, some type of way. Had a lot of people doing when is basketball going to start? Wake me up in November. Give me Coach Cal. I get it. I encourage people during our football shows, like, hey, stick with it a little bit. It's a long season. Taylor Green's a lot of fun to watch, but yeah, I got the basketball itch too. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it for sure. But it was nice to get back in a little game day coverage, y'all. I'm not going to lie. It's cool. You feel a little bit of, a sense of routine after your world gets rocked a little bit, but we're still adjusting over here at the Wilkerson household, but we're doing well, man. We've got a couple more appointments this week. And of course, Michelle is still recovering and everything like that. But the plan is to start ramping things up a little bit more this week compared to last week. Tentatively, at least we'll see if the little man cooperates on that front, and then try to really start getting back in the swing of things going into next week. So we got some cool stuff planned for you guys throughout the course of this week, though. I think so, at least. We're going to do a little bit of a visit season reset today to see where we are, at about the midway point between who's already been on campus and who's yet to come. That includes this past weekend's visitor Abdu Tour, as well as, we'll have a much larger preview, by the way, on what's getting ready to be, I think, one of the biggest recruiting weekends that Arkansas basketball has had ever. I mean, in a long, long time. It's a big deal. We'll touch on it a little bit today. We should have some scheduling fun at literally any moment here, waiting. But we know what it looks like. We're waiting for the official announcement to come out so we can really talk about that. We've got some cool projection stuff to throw out there. So let's have ourselves a week here, shall we? What do you say? Hey, today's episode of the Pod at the Palace is presented by our friends over at Walter Christmas Lighting of Arkansas. You know the drill. It's mid-September. That means we're knocking on the door of October. That means it's Halloween season. Some of you get in the holiday spirit, but you don't have the time or the resources to light up your house and wow the neighborhood. Luckily for you, Walter Christmas Lighting has you covered this fall and winter, and they got me covered too. In fact, our man Brett is coming out and hooking me up this week. He's been sharing the blueprints. We've decided on our theme, and he's going to come out here and hook it up, and I'm really looking forward to that. And we're going to do a Pod at the Palace episode from my front yard. Kind of at risk of doxing myself here, but I want to promote the business because I think they do a great job. It's really cool, and I'm looking forward to seeing the finished product here, and you should be looking forward to seeing it at your house as well. They really take care of you, and they make it easy. All materials provided, any color, any pattern. They install the lights, they do all the maintenance, and they come take it all down for you in January. Can't think of anything better than that. If you sign up for Halloween lights, you also get your Christmas lights for 50% off. So text our guy Brett for a free estimate, 479-459-1380. Or check out the website at walterchristmaslighting.com, or like them on Facebook by scanning the QR code on your screen. Okay, so let's get into it here. What I want to do is let's start at the very front of the visit calendar here that Arkansas has been on and work our way through all of that. And then we got a few notes on some other guys who aren't officially scheduled for visits just yet. But I don't know. Feel like I've been a little bit off the grid for the last week or so. And I think it's good to just kind of take stock of where things are at with everybody that Arkansas is pursuing, whether they've already been on campus and they're visiting elsewhere, or they're visiting elsewhere now and they're getting ready to pop up at Arkansas. Where are they at? Where are the Hogs at? Because everybody wants to know, what is this class going to look like when it's all said and done? And the early signing period is getting closer and closer. It's kind of like Halloween. It's right after that, right? So at any rate, like I said, we're close to the halfway point with the visit schedule. So it's a good time to do that. Take a restock and everything. We're going to roll pretty quickly, though, on the guys who have already visited, since I know we've talked about all that quite a bit. So some of that will be a little bit repetitive. We got a few updates on some guys, but it's really about what's to come, in my opinion. Now, Caleb Holt is first on that list. Obviously, was in town for the Alabama A&M weekend, and to be honest, guys, I'm a little disappointed here. And we touched on it last week, but all indications were that his visit to Arkansas went great. And the Arkansas side was super, super confident in the aftermath. Like they felt like they crushed it. They felt like they killed it. Those are the words that were used to me. And, then we noticed that Cal hasn't really gone out to see Caleb Holt in the recruiting period, at least not that we're aware of. And, all the buzz is elsewhere, to the point that nobody nationally is even mentioning Arkansas in this race. And that's one of the places that he's visited. So I don't know, like, does that rule him out per se? Not necessarily, but it is kind of hard to ignore the smoke is currently blowing anywhere but Fayetteville for Caleb Holt. Now, he's visited both Kentucky and Alabama. Alabama's a big one there. And he's got some other things lined up. My read is that if Arkansas feels like it's still in it, still has a chance, or still going to be, hot in pursuit, Cal's going to have to get out and see him this week. And if not, I think it's probably time to, not write him off altogether, but move him down into a different category there in terms of, our likelihood meter of Arkansas being able to get this done. Sounds like Alabama's in a pretty strong position there. I know, we talked a little bit about Providence and Arizona and some other schools making a push there, but Bama kind of felt like maybe the school to beat going into it. And after this visit weekend, it feels like maybe they've solidified that a little bit. So we'll keep an eye on it. Brandon McCoy, who obviously visited a little over a week ago. That was while I was posted up in the hospital. We know that McCoy keeps his recruitment very buttoned up. And so there isn't a whole lot beyond the typical generic feedback, right? Visit went really well. Yes, they were very impressed, whatever, right? But from the Arkansas standpoint, they feel really good about it. I'm just like, damn, I heard that about Caleb Holt too. You know what I mean? But I do know this, the staff is really high on Brandon McCoy. They like him a lot as a basketball player. They like him even more as a person. I think that they really came away impressed with the vibes that he brought to the table with his personality and everything like that. I'm told that him and John Calipari have clicked very, very well. And then he vibed with Darius Acuff from start to finish while he was in town. All those are good omens. Now, we have not seen the post-visit momentum shift with McCoy that we did Holt. Good. But could that also be a byproduct of how close to the vest he keeps things? Maybe. Like, I'm not going to rule that out. But at the moment, I think this is Arkansas's best shot with its deep sea fishing ventures here. And we have eyes on what is next for McCoy, right? Because the only other visit he was expected to take was Alabama. And they just had every guard in the 2026 class on campus besides him. So are they even going to continue to go that route? Now, there are other schools pursuing him, certainly. Michigan, keep an eye on, UCLA, USC, Duke, schools like that. We shall see. But right now, I do feel good about Arkansas's position with Brandon McCoy. Abdu Tour, fresh off visit this weekend. Our last episode of the show, I guess it was Thursday, we were just asking whether or not Arkansas was on commit watch with Abdu this weekend. Point out several reasons why they might be, but we landed on probably not because of it, its potential impact on all the other races that you're involved in, because they're recruiting a lot of similar type players, and you already have JJ Andrews to boot. So in ways, though, this felt like a red carpet visit. You know what I mean? And then there's some other things that left you wondering. Like, if you're serious about a prospect, if you got a Bentley out there for him, he arrives on campus. I know everybody saw that on the Instagram. I did have several folks point out to me that, Coach Cal wasn't even in town on Abdu's first night. And that is accurate, but there's context involved with that, right? Like, Cal was in Lexington as Karl Anthony Towns is getting inducted into the Kentucky Hall of Honor or whatever it's called over there, which is really cool. Now, first of all, Abdu knew about this when he scheduled his visit. Like, this wasn't something that was sprung on him right away. It's like he showed up and the head coach is like, yeah, actually, I got to get out of here and go back to my old school for the night. I'm sure he was fully aware of that. Secondly, it's kind of a low-key flex, like one of many NBA All-Stars that John Calipari has produced, getting honored at the school that he recruited him at, and you go out there and show some support for him because you helped him get to where he is today. Like, that means something there, in my opinion, at least. And hell, Cal probably had, Karl Anthony Towns probably called Abdu up. Like, wouldn't surprise me at all. Like, John Calipari's not an idiot. He didn't just dip out on this visit. I know some BBN folks were throwing it out there. Speaking of idiots, but at any rate, knowing how these visits work, by the way, the time frame that Cal was out of town, was it Friday night, I guess? It was dinner, which was at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse, where Abdu was having his tomahawk steak and lobster tail. So I don't think he was tripping about whether or not Cal was there as he was enjoying that meal. You know what I mean? And then it's the evening, which is when you're usually hanging out with your player host. And what that means is either you're in the gym getting shots up, or playing some pickup, or you're out on Dixon or enjoying campus life, right? So he still had his time with Coach Cal. He's around the team. He was at practice. He's around campus, around town. It's also worth reminding with Abdu, it's his second visit. He was already here once, less than a year ago. So while this experience was obviously important and there were negotiations and new presentations, all those things, a lot of this has already been seen and experienced before. And that factors into it as well. So I'll tell you what, if you want to know how you should feel about Abdu Tour's visit and the vibes that you should have, let's look at him and Cal posing together. Who is this? Who is this John Calipari right now? Look at that. That doesn't look fake or manufactured to me. That looks good. Look at this one. Flexing. First of all, Cal looks great, man. He's in really good shape. And on top of that, I can't get over how much Abdu looks like Adu, Thero. It's really kind of weird. I'm sorry, man. I can't get past it. But look at that. I mean, okay, how about this? Calling all body language experts here. This to me looks like a hog and a coach who has no doubt in his mind about a recruit. Like, does Cal do this ever, first of all? But does he do these poses? Does he get involved in these photo shoots like this if he doesn't want a kid, or he doesn't feel like he has him, or he's not sold on him? I don't think so. I don't think so. And the other thing I'll say is I can assure you that based off what I've been told, Abdu enjoyed himself plenty this weekend at Arkansas. So up next, it's pretty straightforward. Could a quick surprise commitment happen? Sure. But, I think Arkansas and Providence have been the top two perceived contenders. He visited Providence last week and then had the entire staff out for him before he took his Arkansas visit. So now he's visited Arkansas. Does Cal return the favor? Because here's what I'm thinking. We know he's going out to see the Ratliff twins this week. And when Chuck Martin did that, same day he was out to see Abdu. So does Cal make that exact same trip and double down and get out there to see him? Because I think that would be very, very telling if that happens. So does a commitment date emerge? Or do we see other visits scheduled, whether it's the home state UConn deciding to ramp things up a little bit, or, Louisville or Oregon after some pretty significant whiffs on their part. Maryland was another school that was trying to get him on campus for a visit. Do we see that? So, still a little bit fresh here post-visit. We'll continue to gather some more details about the visit and how all that went. And we'll share that over the next day or two on the show. But as of right now, I think we're looking ahead at what happens next, because if he shuts it down and we get into decision-making time, I think that's a pretty darn good sign for Arkansas there. If he extends it out, it kind of makes you wonder if Arkansas, Providence, who's in on Caleb Holt now, if schools like that are kind of like, hey, we like you, we want you, but we want to see this kind of thing play out a little bit more. Personally, I think Abdu is better than his ranking. I think his upside is, at least. Super athlete. I love the way that he plays. I would take him right now, whether it impacted some of these other guys or not, because I am pretty high on him. But I don't know where Arkansas stands on that just yet. But that's why we connect the dots, and we'll be able to figure that out here pretty quick, I would imagine. Guys, are you tired of juggling insurance companies just to find the right coverage? It gets really frustrating. Have somebody do it for you. How's that sound? At OZK Insurance and Rogers, they make insurance simple again. As a 100% independent agency, they shop the entire marketplace to deliver the best combination of cost and coverage, saving you both time and money. Whether it's home, auto, boat, motorcycle, life, or commercial insurance, their friendly team has access to a wide range of flexible options designed just for you. They serve Northwest Arkansas and Central Arkansas, including Bentonville, Centerton, Fayetteville, Little Rock, Hot Springs, Springdale, and beyond. Let OZK Insurance be the trusted advisor you never knew you needed. With over 600 five-star Google reviews, start today with a free online quote at ozkinsurance.com or call 479-715-4200. OZK Insurance, it's protection made simple. Okay. So we've worked our way through his already visited. And those are, the key guys there so far. Now for what's to come, starting with an absolutely massive weekend on the horizon here. Massive. Because Arkansas's top two priorities in this class all spring and all summer after they got JJ committed have been Jordan Smith Jr. and Arifan Gian. Both are on campus this coming weekend. Both are currently trending elsewhere. Both are still very much in play for Arkansas, but the Razorbacks are going to have to knock it out of the park. This is huge. This is big. This is kind of stuff that excites me, man. With Jordan Smith Jr., we know that Duke and John Shire have basically pushed all their chips in. And we know the connections between John Paul VI, his high school, and all the players that have come out of there and gone to Duke. We get it. We know that they've been out in full force to see him. So is Cal. I'm not thinking about the hometown Georgetown or, I'm not thinking about Kentucky, who he's got a visit scheduled to. This is about, can you make up that ground with Duke, in my opinion, for Arkansas? And how do you do that? Like John Calipari's pitch speaks for itself here, and it's second to none. But they're also going to have to wow him on the visit, of course. And frankly, you got to let that bag talk. Sorry, it just is what it is. If you want the man, you got to pay him like it. And I'm not saying Arkansas can't or that they won't. In fact, I think that they can and will. But that's going to be a part of this as well, especially to go to Arkansas. And that's no shade, directed at Arkansas or Fayetteville or anything like that. But a kid from the DMV who's being recruited by Duke, he just knows more about it. It's more of a known commodity to him. And he knows a lot about John Calipari, but he needs to get here and see what Arkansas has to offer. And it's going to be one of those situations where he's probably going into it thinking, I don't know, man, I have no idea what to expect. And he's probably going to walk out going, damn, it's pretty nice, man. The arena is huge. Look at all the resources they have. Wow, this place is a lot different than I expected it to be. You always have a little bit of that. Sometimes you call it undersell and overdeliver. Sometimes it's just a like unknown and it exceeds your expectations. That might be a better way to put it. But it's going to be tough, but it's not impossible by any means here, in my opinion. Arifan, on the other hand, I think you can win a bidding war with against Houston for him. Houston being the leader right now, you know the drill. He also just visited Kentucky, and we know the connections there with Mark Pope's brother-in-law being his coach. We know that they've got a lot of money to throw around out there, certainly. Indiana and Virginia have scheduled visits, but I don't think either one of those schools are really in the running to get him unless they do something crazy on the NIL front there. So this is the first time this cycle that we have had a tag team visit. And I think this is a good time for it. It's been one guy at a time who's been getting the visits here. And it's like you kind of have your own weekend dedicated to you or whatever. And now you got two big fish at once. Like, how do they navigate that? Hello, number one guard in the class, meet the number one center. You guys will get along just fine here, right? Oh, by the way, here's the ultimate teammate in JJ Andrews, who I would have on campus for this visit as well. Why not have JJ Andrews in for an unofficial when you've got the best guard in the class and the best center in the class there also? Seems like a pretty good idea to me. I'm just saying, wow, like you three guys sure do impact winning in a variety of ways. Team up and do it here. Have them in on some of those presentations together and what this could look like for the program next year. Cal, hey, man, show them some of the clips of your best inside-out tandems from over the years. I'm sure that's something they do. Have Tyler Eulis in there. Have Kenny Payne set in with Arifan. Have DJ Wagner and Nick Pringle hang out with those guys one night, and then have your freshman, Darius Acuff and Malik Thomas, the next night. Whatever it takes. Whatever it takes. I don't know what they like to eat. Do you need to get Big Arifan a tomahawk steak like you did Abdu? Maybe he's a pizza guy. I don't know. I'm always so interested on where these guys go to eat on the visit. I'm a big eater though, man. Big restaurant guy. That steak looked great. Abdu had, by the way. But it is funny. Steak and lobster, man. He had it at Providence. He had it at in Fayetteville. I wonder which experience is better for him. If he hits me back, I'm going to have to ask him. Those are the burning questions that we really want to know about. At any rate, whatever it takes, man. And yes, John Calipari is going to get his guys. And Arkansas will wind up with a strong class no matter what. But this weekend represents the opportunity for them to do something really special here with this 2026 class. And so I'm fascinated to see how it works out. We're going to have an episode later in the week specifically dedicated to previewing this and what it looks like. So moving on from that, Tay Kinney canceled all the rest of his visits besides Arkansas, which happens on Notre Dame weekend, not this coming weekend, but the next. He's also announcing his commitment like 24 hours after he leaves Fayetteville, which we've learned is on September 28th, I believe. So you look at that and you're like, oh, what does this mean? Here's the deal. 99% of folks believe he's already signed, sealed, and delivered to Kansas. And the other 1% feels that Louisville can still convince him to come. 2 Adidas schools, you know the drill with him and that apparel line. If I'm John Calipari, and I know that Tay Kenny is a silent commit elsewhere and that it's done, I'm not sure how excited I would be about hosting him for his recruitment swan song where he would be fresh off my visit and commit elsewhere. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how that would work. If this visit happens, though, it's because there's something that still has Cal believing they're in it. And all I will say is, as unlikely as it feels, Arkansas would still at least have the chance to do the funniest thing here. Wouldn't it be? It's like, oh, this dude's going Adidas for sure. Yeah, he's going to Kansas. Oh, maybe Louisville. And then the day of, he pops for Arkansas. I don't think it's going to happen, but it would be a classic Calipari move. You remember when he said the thing about, what was it, like at any point I can get whoever I want. There's nothing you can do about it. It doesn't matter how long you've been recruiting him. It'd be one of those things if he did it. And that's the kind of flex that I want to see John Calipari make. I don't think it's going to happen with Tay Kenny, but it'd be pretty sick if it did. Cole Clower, October 3rd through 5th. UConn has its sights set on Clower. Florida has its sights set on Clower. Will Wade is all over Clower, a North Carolina kid. He has several other visits lined up. It's a full-on tour. This is one of those guys that Cal has gone out to see personally here in the last couple of weeks during the recruiting period. So there's that. As of right now, I believe it's safe to say that Arkansas is kind of on the outside looking in, on the leaderboard there ahead of the visit. But I do think there's still a lot to be played out here. Baba Oladiton, who I am told is penciled in, not Sharpied, penciled because you can erase it and change it. And there's also a long time between now and then, but he's expected to visit the weekend of October 25th to Arkansas, which would coincide with the Razorbacks home exhibition game that should take place the 24th, the night before. So I'd imagine it would be a deal where they get him in town and, he gets to see the exhibition and everything like that. And then he's in for the weekend, the whole 9 yards, which would be cool. And so, like, I'm told this could be a lengthy process for Baba, because he reclassed. And so they're ramping things up, but they're going to leave no stone left unturned. Like, they're very thorough. His dad, like his support system, very, very sharp. They've got the list of things that matter to them the most. And they're going to be very thorough and detail oriented throughout this entire process. So there's that. But I'm also told that John Calipari has really been pushing hard here, like really been pushing hard. And he's got Arkansas in the upper tier of early contenders, perceived at least. So that's one to certainly keep an eye on, because he could be, depending on how quickly it clicks for him, because he is a younger guy, obviously, he could be something special. And I'm really excited about the potential there with him. A couple non-visit items of note, and then we'll get out of here for the day. Mika Murnin. We pointed out Eurobasket as just a time for him to reestablish his stock. He was shaky his junior year over here in the States. He was great in Peach Jam and in the high school season. It was kind of up and down. The stats didn't look too good, and you were wondering what's going on here. He didn't play on the EYBL this spring. Well, what are we doing? And so we really pointed to this opportunity to play with Team Finland in Eurobasket as a chance for him to reestablish his stock. He's skyrocketed it. He's looked awesome. He's completely sold me on himself as a player. Really, really impressive. Again, like the youngest guy playing over there, and he's playing against a bunch of NBA players, dunking on folks, highlight after highlight, knocking down threes. It's not like he's leading them in scoring or anything like that. It's nothing crazy, but he's a real impactful piece there for Team Finland. He looked great throughout the whole thing. So I spoke to a source that's plugged into his recruitment over the weekend, and I just asked, like, hey, is Arkansas still under consideration for Mika? And I was told, you bet your ass they are. So there's that. We'll see what happens when he comes back stateside. And then finally, mentioned this a few minutes ago, but eyes peeled for Arkansas to potentially extend offers to the Ratliff twins this week. And we mentioned on the last show that John Calipari was expected to be out to see them. Speaking of stock risers, both these guys have been garnering a lot of attention here recently. Alabama's been on them. A lot of heavy hitters have been in that gym to see him. USC was just there. Musk extended offers to him. don't be surprised for John Calipari to offer them on the spot when he goes to visit. This could be a very telling trip for John Calipari when he goes to see him, because it might tell you a little bit how you feel about your chances with Arafan going into the visit. Like if you wind up extending an offer to 2 post players right before he comes to see you. And that could also be the trip where he doubles down immediately following Abdu Tour leaving campus and going and seeing him again. So if both of those things happen, if he goes and sees both, or if he goes to both of those stops and sees all 3 players and he extends offers to the Twins, I think that's really going to give us some clarity on what we're looking at as we head into the weekend and kind of the rest of the visit season here. So anyway, going to get out of here for the day. Appreciate everybody for tuning in, tapping in as always, and being patient as we get settled into our new reality here. But like I said, going to slowly ramp things up, more this week than we had last week, and then we'll really get back in the swing of things here moving forward. But subscribe where you need to get subscribed, the Inside Arkansas YouTube channel. We're also doing the Spotify video thing now. So you can find us where you find your podcast in audio form, whether it's Apple, Amazon, or Spotify. But we also got that video element over there now that's pretty cool too. I didn't even know it was a thing until John hit me up and was like, hey, this is how we're going to upload it and do it now. And I was like, oh, all right, cool. So the face is out there on a different platform. I like it. And I like you guys too. We'll see you soon. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. It's been Curtis Wilkerson with Inside Arkansas on the Pod of the Palace. Y'all have a good day.